but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and we have Bob Savage with us.
Hello, everyone.
Well, today is another day in New York State where King Cuomo is just kind of dishing out royal decrees, choosing who has to follow the rules, who doesn't have to follow the rules.
No, he doesn't do, come on, he doesn't do that kind of thing.
You know, I think it's interesting because as time has gone on, he's just been like more and more and more open about it. You know, we've talked about this type of behavior on the show now for years about how Cuomo would take these exact actions, but, you know, kind of like backdoor deals with his buddies where the rules just wouldn't apply to specific people. But now it's like blatant. It's out there. It's in the open. And now if you're a celebrity, I guess you don't have to quarantine.
You know what it's like with Cuomo? I think that there's a little arrested development going on here. I think there's a part of him that's stuck at age 12. Remember when you were like in 6th grade and you had that guy behind you who was always like poking you and poking you and poking you? And you turn around and tell him to knock it off. And then he does it again, but he does it a little harder. And sometimes he does something that's even a little bit more aggravating. That's what Andrew Cuomo is like. And that's what he's doing to the general population in the state of New York. It's not just that he believes in totalitarian government and being a control freak. He enjoys this. This is something, this is part of his psyche.
Yeah, I've got to believe that this gives him a certain amount of joy to be able to do this, to have the authority to just pick and choose who follows the rules, who doesn't follow the rules, to know that he has basically complete and total power in New York State. I mean, do we even have a state legislature anymore?
No.
They're gone.
Yeah, they voluntarily handed over all their legislative function to Andy Cuomo because of COVID. So that happened, and that's going to be effective until next April.
Yeah, and so here we are, and of course they got a big hefty raise right before they signed over their power. So essentially, what's happening is they're vacationing on the taxpayers' dime. Cuomo's running the state, and like there is no money in the state at all. And now Cuomo's just got these pick and choose rules, and his latest is the celebrities who travel to, I believe it's the VMA, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So they're going to come here. They're going to go to New York City. If they come from states, which I think there's 34 of them right now, although I think 5 of them came off this morning. So I don't know if that changes us down to 29 or if the 34 number was, after those 5 states came off. They're not going to have to quarantine for 14 days.
Right.
And they won't be subject to the $10,000 fine that that New York State is saying that they would issue to people if they're not quarantined for 14 days. And they won't be subject to the 15 days in jail for not complying with the executive order. So
yeah, if you're Ariana Grande, how do you say it? Grande? Is it
I think it's Grande,
yeah. Or Lady Gaga or whatever. If you have a pretty face,
Miley Cyrus.
If you're immune to COVID because you just are because you're famous, and because you also generate a lot of money for Andrew Cuomo with big fat Democrat Party donations, I'm sure. So that's that makes you immune to COVID. Did you know? So if you ever suspected that COVID is like contrived at best and deceitfully fraudulent at worst, this is your confirmation of that. It just goes to show that most of this is bunk. It's bunk. It's made up.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, you look at all the restrictions that are in place, and yesterday Kevin and I talked about the new rules. You can't even play cornhole anymore. You can't throw darts.
I know.
Like that's some of the latest restrictions.
And bars have to serve food. How stupid is that? That's just Andrew Cuomo saying, well, I don't want you to be gathering. You know something? That's none of your freaking business whether we gather.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's what it is. Here's what I think it is. Everything that Cuomo's doing is to try to force people to spend money. The economy is in the tank. He's not letting people go out to bars without buying food because then people aren't spending as much money. He's forcing people to spend money. And what's happening is people who can't afford to spend the money have no choice but to stay at home. But if you're a big celebrity that's got, millions and millions of dollars, you're rich, you're wealthy, you're one of Cuomo's buddies, you can come to New York State without having to follow any of the rules. You can come from one of those forbidden states. You don't have to quarantine. You get to come, make your money while the rest of the state was shut down for over 100 days and told they can't even go to work and make a living. But if you're a rich celebrity, yeah, you can come to New York. You can work. Live music is banned in New York, by the way.
Yeah, except for on the sound stage, personally approved by Governor Headcase.
Yeah, yeah. So this whole thing is it just reeks. It's really, really bad. It's showing through the true colors of Andrew Cuomo, where he's willing to tell the working families of New York State that you cannot work, you cannot go out and enjoy your time, you can't go to certain places, you can't participate in certain things unless you have a lot of money.
Well, if you have a college-bound young adult in your home, as we do, you don't need me to tell you about the chaos about semi-campus life this fall. The college, a staggering financial burden, in many cases, a questionable educational investment, given what passes for instruction these days. That's been reduced to something that looks like little more than a diploma mill, thanks to dubious online learning procedures. Anyone can be instructed on a computer at practically no cost anywhere without being subjected to draconian isolation at a distant campus. So the most egregious part of this whole thing, the quarantining of arriving students at a cost of about $1,000 additional that gets stacked on your student loans to satisfy the demands of the state bureaucracy. Some colleges even make money on commissions from off-campus hotels and motels. RIT actually owns 2 hotels of their own. And in the meantime, you got Andy Cuomo saying that we're going to preserve tax revenues from this lucrative media production. So what this is, in case you missed it, this is Governor Cuomo giving you, ladies and gentlemen, the finger. I'm going to do this to kiss up to my music industry friends and Hollywood as Democrat donors because I can. And what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, no, it's totally right. Because here's the thing: if music was, let's go down the path of safety. Let's just talk about safety during COVID because that's the projected message with all of this. If music is safe for them, why isn't it safe for the rest of us?
Right. So it's just once again, this is underlining this for you. This is all contrived. This thing is so hyped. Let me tell you about the stats that are going on right now. You keep hearing about all the cases. Oh, there's more cases here. There's more cases there. The cases are going up. Cases do not mean sick people. They don't mean sick people at all. I had COVID last winter. If I go out and I'm tested today for antibodies, which I will not be, by the way, I will test positive. Ladies and gentlemen, that gets counted as a, quote, new case. How many anecdotes do we need? There have been thousands of them, literally, of people who have waited in line for COVID testing, ran out of time, left, went home, and then received a positive result in the mail. This happens all over the place. This is all made up. Stop wearing masks. This is me, not Andrew. Don't be a sheep. The time for defiance has come, ladies and gentlemen. This is just me. Sorry, Andrew. I don't mean to hijack your show here. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. No, it's true. I mean, here's the reality of the situation. The numbers are all over the board, and in every which way. There's not a consistent way of tracking them. A lot of these tests have extremely inconsistent results. And I understand we need to make some sort of decisions based on the numbers we have. I'm okay with people wearing masks. You do you. If you feel that protects you and makes you safe, if you want to, sure. But I think if two consenting adults want to hang out in the same space and they both agree that they're okay with the risks of not wearing a mask, that should be their decision.
Right.
It should be between them. Government should have no say in that whatsoever. And that's how I feel. I think if government just got out of the way, a lot of this stuff could be significantly better.
Well, if everybody stopped wearing a mask who didn't want to wear a mask, there would be no difference in the COVID numbers. None. There would be none.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that this stuff is just it's going way too far for way too long. I mean, we've been saying that since like week 2, and people are saying, no, it's gonna be fine. Everything will be all right. Businesses are failing. The state is crumbling. We gotta change direction. Guys, we're gonna take a break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Escape from the everyday to a getaway at Woodcliff Hotel and Spa. Woodcliff features elegantly appointed accommodations, creative cuisine, themed suites, full-service spa Elan, and is Rochester's best venue for outdoor wedding receptions overlooking the city skyline. Woodcliff Hotel and Spa, where the experience is extraordinary. Located in Fairport, call 585-381-4000 or visit woodcliffhotelspa.com.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Bob Savage here with us.
All fired up.
Oh yeah, Bob's all fired up, and I can see you guys in the comments too here on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. I can see you guys. You guys are getting real sick of Cuomo too. I mean, and if you listen to the show, you've been sick of Cuomo for a while. I get that. But this whole entire COVID situation has really given kind of like a nightmarish situation to the state, where we're stuck now under not just single party rule, because that was bad enough, but now single dictator rule, which is Governor Cuomo. I don't know if you guys have noticed, his lieutenant governor is kind of like almost totally out of the picture too. You know, it's like it's just all him, full blast, going forward, high on the power. And you just see that with every single thing that he does in terms of COVID. And you can see it now with gyms are finally reopening, and the type of restrictions that you're seeing in the gyms is just it's a lot. I can't imagine wanting to go to a gym with the restrictions that are happening.
How do you work out with a
at the
mask?
gyms.
That's
the thing.
You're
Yeah.
re-aspirating all of your carbon dioxide. That's going to screw, and the more you breathe, the harder you breathe, which is the point of going to the gym. The more carbon dioxide you're going to re-inhale.
Yeah, I mean, I have I'm one of those people that I don't need to go to the gym to be motivated to exercise. My brother is though. Like my brother, he's gained he's gained a little bit of weight here. With the COVID thing going on, he's one of those like go to the gym multiple days a week type guys. Watches his eating. He was really fit before COVID happened. And I got a chance to see him. He lives in Albany. So I got a chance to see him last week at a family gathering, and he put on some weight, and we were talking, and he was like, yeah, I have to be at the gym to motivate myself to exercise and see other people working out, and that's what helps me be healthy, and that's been taken away from him. For me, I don't need that. I'm happy to work out in my living room or in the backyard or something like that. It's not something I need. But this morning I'm working out, and I'm working out pretty hard. And then I read this article about what gyms are doing as they're opening up, and they're talking about they have staff on the floor acting as police officers, and that's literally in quotes what they use. They said our staff are becoming police officers, and they're monitoring what people are doing and making sure that they're wearing those masks and that everything they're sanitizing afterwards. And it just, this vision that painted in my head was like a prison workout yard, like where you have these people like monitoring you and making sure that you're wearing a mask. And I'm here like, breathing hard, my heart's pumping, my muscles are working really hard. And I'm thinking like, wow, wearing a mask through that would be just terrible.
I can't imagine wearing a mask and working out. I mean, I don't have compromised respiratory function. A lot of people do who go to the gym, but still in all, I mean, it's hard enough if you're really doing a good job. The idea of exercise is to get your heart rate up. Yeah. Because what that does is it's good for your cardio system, and also it gets the blood pumping, and that requires a lot of respiration. If you have this artificial barrier to proper respiration, you're not going to be healthy in your workout. Your muscles are going to be starved of oxygen. That's going to encourage the buildup of lactic acid in your muscle tissues, which makes your muscles sore because your muscles are not getting enough oxygen.
Yeah, the whole thing is just, it's strange, right? And me too, and I know everybody, perspirates a little differently, but when I work out hard, I sweat, and I couldn't imagine just having this like sweat drenched mask on my face that I'm trying to breathe with. It just sounds disgusting. And so as I'm reading this article, here's the thing. So say you do go to the gym, say you make it through, you're wearing your mask, you're working out, you're just like kind of all sweaty and nasty and disgusting, and you can barely breathe. Then you decide, well, you're gonna take a shower. you the showers, you had to make advanced reservations to be allowed to use the showers because they've then got to re-sanitize the showers after each use. So you get yourself all worked up and then you can't even use the gym shower. And I don't know how they're allowing the locker rooms to work right now because that wasn't a part of the article. But I could just imagine, like, you go in there, half the machines aren't available because they're shutting down, the machines and only allowing certain machines to be used so they can enforce proper social distancing. So you're there with your limited access to whatever membership you're paying. Maybe there's a lot of people there, maybe there's not. So maybe you have to wait in the door until like somebody leaves so that you can go in. So they're at capacity. Then you finish this workout and find out you can't even shower because you didn't know that in advance you had to make a reservation. And maybe like you had to catch your breath and like you pull your mask down a little bit or something, and then the staff like yell at you and kick you out or something. Like, this is just terrible.
Yeah, there's an even more fundamental issue than all that too, and that is that the gyms are limited to 33% of capacity. Now, if somebody told me here at WYSL, our flagship here on the Radio Free New York network, that I could only run 33% of the commercials that we normally run, I would say it's time to sign the station off because you can't make money that way. Yeah, and see, the moron totalitarians who run this state, Andrew Cuomo, I'm looking at you because you're the biggest and dumbest of them all. Just because you're governor of a state doesn't mean you're smart. You've never run a business in your life. In fact, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, and you've been babied and coddled and handed power that you haven't earned your entire life. So you're completely clueless about this kind of thing. So that's what I mean when I say you're a moron. And the moron in chief who's running our state right now does not understand that businesses need to have a certain volume of business in order to stay open. We don't get to just
pay the rent.
If you're trying to run a gym, you don't get to run to the taxpayers and say, "Oh, I need more money," and hold your wallet out and say, "Fill her up," which is what your operating mode is. So. This again, these are the same kind of idiots who think that they can improve employment in New York State by coming up with a $6,000 wage incentive for you to hire new people to add to your staff. Like you're going to hire a $40,000 a year person if you get a $6,000 grant from the government. Of course, you're not going to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and he has so many failed plans. Startup New York is a great example, where it's so clear. And to be honest, Cuomo's not the only one that does this.
Oh no,
right?
no.
We see this with elected officials. The career politicians are such a problem in society. It's why our economy is struggling really hard right now. Because you're right, they've spent a life in government where we as citizens are mandated to be their customers and their hands are in our wallets and we have no say in this. We have no say whatsoever. So they can't even fathom the concept of what it would be like as a business, big or small, competing in the open market, which I think is a great, amazing thing, and offering a good quality product and service and competing to get those customers. And then they have no idea at all what it's like to have the hardship of losing customers based on somebody else's mandate, based on government saying so, government just shutting you down, but still having bills to pay. You got to pay the RG&E, you got to pay the internet company, the phone company, you got to pay the rent, the mortgage, whatever it is.
Yeah, 33% business ceiling, that's the most that you can have, but the expenses are still 100%.
Yep. And most businesses run at like a 10 to 20% profit margin. So if you're getting cut by 67% by the government, you won't stick around. It's not going to happen. All right, guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. When we come back, I want to tell you what Joe Biden wants to do with your 401k. It's worth hearing about. We'll talk about that and more when we come back on Radio Free New York.
More than twice the power.
WYSL.
More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll see an increasing threat for showers and thunderstorms. Could be a strong to severe storm towards tomorrow morning. Temps in the 60s on Thursday. An active weather day. Keep an eye to the sky. There will be a chance for some severe weather, especially in the afternoon. So we'll have to watch out for that. Very humid in the 80s. Drying out, a little nicer on Friday. I'm Rich Cordelia on WYSL.
Don't forget the tragic forced isolation of seniors, the needless death of over 10,000 loved ones in nursing homes, brought to you by Cuomo's Democrats. Remember, in November.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Need help with health insurance? The Greece Regional Chamber provides assistance with health insurance for businesses, nonprofits, families, and individuals throughout our region. We pride ourselves on the personalized service that we provide for our clients. Let us help you find health insurance plans that fit your needs and navigate the paperwork. Greece Chamber Benefit Partners, located at 2402 Westridge Road in Rochester, New York, offers a broad range of medical insurance plans for businesses, nonprofits, individuals, and families throughout the greater Rochester Finger Lakes region, working with insurance companies including Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield, Univera, and MVP Healthcare. We can also help you access insurance plans through the New York State of Health, the official health plan marketplace. Again, you do not need to live or work in Greece to utilize our brokerage services. We serve the greater Rochester Finger Lakes region of New York State. Visit greecechamber.org to sign up for one of our free health insurance information sessions or schedule an appointment with one of our licensed brokers. Call 585-227-7272. 585-227-7272.
Did Mom leave the stove on again? Dad forget to take his pills? The senior citizen in your life deserves to be treated like family in every way, and you deserve the peace of mind that comes from knowing your older family member is getting personalized care, even though they're not yet ready for a nursing home. Consider Alpine Manor, founded in 1971 by owner Tim Kinsella, and just 20 minutes from Rochester in Lima, Livingston County. At Alpine Manor, there are supervised activities and medications, full laundry and housekeeping services provided to your loved one in immaculate surroundings. You can move to warmer regions secure in the knowledge that your loved one is well cared for back at home. You could qualify for $1,830 per month VA benefits or $1,176 per month for a surviving spouse. Alpine Manor, New York State Health Department licensed. Call 346-5880 for a no-obligation tour or information, or visit alpinemanor.com.
Ready to Respond Training Services offers CPR, AED, and first aid training across Western New York and beyond. High-quality training from top educators and instructors who have worked in the EMS field. For more information, call 585-281-4208 or visit readytorespond.net. Inform, engage, equip. Ready to Respond Training Services. 585-281-4208.
Spend Labor Day with all things hops at Genesee Country Village and Museum. Visit one of the only working 19th century breweries in the United States. Enjoy music throughout the historic village. Play games on the village square. Learn about uses of hops and sample historical recipes using beer as the key ingredient. Special considerations in place for social distancing. The Hop Harvest Festival, September 7th, 10 to 4 at Genesee Country Village and Museum in Mumford. Save $2 on pre-sale. Visit gcv.org.
Fix It Via Video, a new service leveraging years of experience and a live expert guiding you through known issues and how-to steps of troubleshooting for faster diagnosis to get you back mowing again. Check out fixitchat.live.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Bob Savage here with us, and I was reading this article from Forbes about the Joe Biden plan for retirement savings. And doesn't sound so good. Doesn't sound good at all. So you guys may or may not be familiar with how a 401k works, or an IRA or a Roth IRA. But the Joe Biden plan promises to, in quotes, equalize the network of retirement savings tax breaks.
Oh, redistribution. I love that.
Yeah,
It's my favorite thing.
So the way the system works today is the more money you save, the better the advantages can be for you, the more money you can yield from those savings. That kind of seems to make sense to me, that if I were to save $100, I would, benefit, in a certain way for that $100. But if I saved $1,000, I would benefit more because I've set aside more.
Yeah, like 10 times as much.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Well, it seems that he's looking to change that.
Well, good. Finally.
Yeah. So saving more will theoretically not benefit you more. So the campaign's been kind of quiet about what they mean about this. But there's a few options and alternatives out there, things that have been kind of proposed somewhat quietly, but they haven't said yes, for sure, this is what we're doing. So I wanted to go through a couple of those with you guys so you can at least see where the train of thought is going, so that you can decide for yourself if this sounds like a good thing or not. So the first thing that has been discussed is reducing the total available pre-tax savings from $51,000 to $20,000, or 20% of your income, whichever is less. So let me just kind of explain how this works. Depending on the type of retirement savings plan you're using, like either a 401k or an IRA, you can set aside money into those accounts, and it's not taxed until you withdraw the money from those accounts. So it's a way to sit there, save some money, not pay tax on your savings up front. You pay tax on your savings later. Well, what that does is that allows you to lower your income a little bit. So say you're making $50,000 a year, you set aside $10,000 into that IRA account, you're taxed on $40,000 a year, which can be really, really important for a family if they're hovering right around a certain tax bracket that could put them in a really bad tax situation. They could choose to just set aside a little bit more money that year if they do the right planning, save it instead, and it can be good for them. It could be the difference between their kids being able to participate in some after-school program, maybe something educational, maybe be able to afford a family trip, any number of things. So I want to talk about this $20,000 or 20% of your income, whichever is less, because the average American, I want to say the average salary is $52,000 a year, across the nation. So if you take 20% of that, you're now telling them that they can only save, $10,000 which is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot of money. But before, the limit could have been as high as 50,000, and not to say that, somebody would store all their income aside or anything, but you've basically taken away $40,000 of options from them. That it just seems totally wrong, totally wrong. And somebody else who maybe is pretty wealthy, say they're in the $100,000 or above bracket, and they did have the ability to set aside that 50,000. Well, now the maximum they can set aside is 20. And who's the government to tell you how much money you can set aside for your own retirement savings? So that's like the first option, the first plan. And I will tell you, if this happens, their intent, I think, is to just give people less tax options. But what I think is going to happen is people who are wealthy are going to plan for retirement just in different ways. They're still going to save money. They're still going to go out and retire and have a good retirement setup. But those who aren't as well off, those who, start to see some of these tax benefits dwindling, especially when I talk about the next two, they're just going to stop saving for retirement. And you're going to have people who normally would have saved for retirement say it's just not worth it. And they're going to then look to the government later in life to take care of them for retirement.
Exactly. Yep. More dependence on government and redistribution, and more control over the choices that you make with what you earn. So if they provide a disincentive for you to save, that's that much more we can tax.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So the next potential proposal here is expanding the savers credit. Specifically for low-income earners. I'm not familiar with the Savers Credit. I don't know if you are, Bob.
I'm not. I never heard of it.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. That might be like a different part of their platform even. It's the first time I had heard of it. But essentially, if you're a single person earning $19,500 a year, or a couple earning $39,000 a year, they would give you, I guess, like a tax credit for money that you save and set aside. But it was like really unclear. I didn't understand how it would work. It seems very unpolished. But if there's somebody who's listening to the show right now and you know what we're talking about, and you understand the Savers Credit, like I'd love for you to call in 585-346-3000, give us a quick 30 seconds on it, or comment on the live feed. I'd love to understand that better. If not, I'll reach out to a CPA later and maybe they can explain it.
I guarantee it's some half-baked, dim-witted idea that basically hands free money to those who haven't earned much, because that's what you do. You incentivize poverty.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And that's the thing about these type of programs is, say you had the opportunity. Let's say that this credit gives you, I don't know, $5,000 off of your taxes or something like that. We'll just use that as a number. Somebody who could make $22,000 or $23,000 a year by taking a new job, maybe advancing in their career, starting to move up in the world, would look at that and go, oh, you know what? If I do that, I'm going to lose this credit and I'll actually make less money by advancing myself. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as the welfare cliff, where there are so many benefits and so many incentives for welfare that families look at getting a job and they go, that's not worth it. I'm getting $69,000 worth of pay and benefits right now by not having a job. Why would I switch to even a $40,000 or $50,000 job a year when I've got the food stamps, I've got my rent covered, I've got my RG&E covered, I've got cash benefits, I've got like really good healthcare benefits and childcare available to me? I can't find a job that's going to give me that. It's better for me to stay unemployed. That's what these type of things do. That's why they are so bad. That's why they're not beneficial. The very last one that I'm going to share with you guys here is this thought of just removing all tax benefits from retirement savings entirely. and then providing a tax credit in place for about 25%, which I think that's 25% of what you save. Once again, terrible idea. People around the poverty line are just, they're not going to save money, and they're going to then end up relying on government, whereas the wealthy and the rich, they'll figure it out. They'll know how to do it, and there's just going to be a ton of reliance on government. So I give a big thumbs down on this type of proposal. I think it's terrible. We're going to cut to break here. When we come back, we've got a story about the post office. You guys are listening to Radio Free New York. We'll be back in a moment.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce. We're the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we're better together, and together, we're moving business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Bob Savage here with us, and Bob's got a letter for us, I think.
Yes, there's a lot of attempt to accuse President Trump of trying to meddle with the post office because, of course, the Democrats are trying to push mail-in ballots like crazy because they think that that's an avenue that they can use to help them win the elections in the fall. This unsolicited letter came from a highly placed post office veteran in the eastern United States. It was sent to me. This person is not Bob Lucky, by the way, who's a WYSL news correspondent out of Buffalo, whose full-time job is with the Postal Service. But this is a jaw dropper, ladies and gentlemen, and this is from the inside, and I thought I should share this with you.
And before you read it, Bob, I think you said you know this person.
I know this person. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can validate the.
It's a reliable person. Yeah.
Okay.
Over the past few weeks, there's been much mudslinging against Louis DeJoy and the USPS. Stories have been told from union presidents, former employees, and government officials. The press and social media, as with every other topic these days, has created an atmosphere that promotes negativity. While there are many problems with the Postal Service, I cannot stay silent as union presidents tell half-truths for the sake of their political beliefs. I find their misleading statements unethical and irresponsible. The public has been stirred into a frenzy for the latest cause in this downward spiraling country. Here are a few more facts people need to know. Letter and flat mail volumes are down significantly. This affects every process from collections to processing and finally delivery. It's a hard fact that cannot be ignored. Standards have changed. There's no longer a civil service exam, but rather an online evaluation from which the USPS hires employees. There's no way to prove the person being hired is the person who filled out the evaluation. Mail standards have changed also. Local mail used to be received, canceled, and processed for delivery on the next day. That mail now takes 2 days or more to be delivered. Another service change? Mail that's ready for processing sometimes has to wait to be sorted. Based on projections of mail volume, mail gets a designated time for when it can begin to be processed. This leads to failures and overtime. It is true that collection boxes are being removed. These are generally in cluster groups where one box is sufficient to accept the mail being placed in them. I reiterate, mail volume has dropped. Removing boxes was done to streamline an outdated service. It's not a diabolical plot. Yes, machines have been dismantled. However, several sections of these dismantled machines have been added onto existing machines. By doing so, they now can accommodate the mail previously sorted on those machines that were, quote, torn apart. This action also solves a staffing issue. Attendance has been a problem long prior to COVID-19. With added absences due to the pandemic, machines often go unmanned until an employee becomes available to run the machine. This adds to overtime. 4 less machines equals 8 less jobs that need to be covered. In addition, some machines have been taken, quote, out of service, but are still available to be run if the need arises. Over the years, various machines have been taken apart and shipped out due to changing needs. Nobody's ever reported that to the media. Packages are piling up for sorting and delivery. The reasons are many. Absenteeism is a large factor, as I mentioned previously. Lack of training for employees and management is another part. Long gone are days when a supervisor could evaluate, organize, staff, and oversee the processing of mail. Cell phone use is a detriment to all operations of mail processing. Endless hours of employees and supervisors on their cell phones could have been spent moving mail. Technology has made us slower. Additional carrier routes need to be created to help with the influx of packages and the ever increase of new addresses. New routes would help evaluate the influx of packages and being left at the station that need to be delivered. The USPS can handle the volume created by absentee ballots. Canceling and letter sorting machines are underutilized due to the plummet in mail volume. If people doubt that it can be done, if people doubt it can be done, keep in mind that the USPS mailed out census information to every address in the U.S. earlier this year 3 times. The problems with the Postal Service are too numerous to list. The public's being fed partial truths and omitted information on which they're basing their opinions. The media is slanting everything to help the Democrats villainize President Trump and PMG, that's Postmaster General DeJoy. The truth is the USPS is failing. It has been for years. It's had to abide by the Postal Regulatory Commission and pre-funding of retirement benefits. It's been run into the ground by former PMGs who began their careers as postal employees. From the inside looking out, PMG DeJoy is making changes based on a business standpoint. He came in with no postal background and a fresh set of eyes. It must have been obvious to him things were glaringly inefficient. He attempted to make changes that, if it were a company in the private sector, would have gone unnoticed. Instead, he was met with accusations and inquiries. How dare he try to bring the USPS into a viable institution that focuses on the customer? The USPS once had a slogan stating, "We deliver for you." Today, that slogan would be, "It's all about me." Management, the unions, and the employees failed this company and the customers well before PMG DeJoy arrived. The Postal Service once had a quality product, charged a fair price, and gave good customer service. It was a company I believed in and was proud to work for. I cannot say that anymore. Times change, attitudes change. Customer service, not a priority. Priority mail, not a priority. To those who are demanding changes, that the changes Postmaster DeJoy has implemented be undone, I say be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. from a longtime postal employee who I know personally.
There you go. Yeah, there's a lot in there. So I haven't seen a lot of the back and forth about the post office, but the letter alone is pretty interesting. You know, hearing the changes that are being made, and I will say, mail has been slow lately.
Oh, it's terrible.
So yeah, it's been bad. I mean, we've mailed out checks to pay for bills that have taken 2.5, 3 weeks to get to somewhere that normally would be there within 2 or 3 days. And
It's all to create a narrative that President Trump is screwing up the post office to try to slow down mail because he doesn't want mail-in ballots, which he doesn't want mail-in ballots. I don't think people do. Look at the reaction that's happened in Monroe County, New York.
yeah,
Everybody's getting multiple ballots mailed to them they haven't asked for.
And the thing that I find interesting is, you know, the U.S. Post Office or Postal Service, from my understanding, isn't actually a government agency. It is independent of the government. Is that true?
No. Well,
I thought they functioned as like totally indendependent, but like
it's
have some
created.
sort of
It's created
relationship with
thanks.
the government.
Yeah, it's created thanks to the what's the name of the thing? Boy, I now got to find it here in the letter. But there's a board of governors. I think that's what the deal is. But it's one of these quasi-governmental things, you know. I mean, it used to be the post office department used to be part of the. I know what you're saying. Used to be part of the government. It was called the U.S. Mail Service or whatever it was, and then it was reorganized. But the problem is, there's 7 labor unions. It's highly unionized, and there's all what's called feather bedding, which is what led to the bankruptcy of the railroads in the 1950s and 1960s. In other words, you know, no work or limited work jobs are just kept there to keep the employment levels higher, when technology would dictate that jobs be eliminated.
Yeah, and it definitely sounds so. I did a little bit reading about the Postal Service this morning, not even knowing that you had this letter. Actually, there were just some articles about the mail machines and stuff that I was reading, and it does sound like they're maybe behind a little bit, you know, and just in terms of times. And if you were to compare it to a service like Amazon's delivery service that is very, very modern and so up to date that like you can see a picture of your package when it's delivered to your storefront. You can see how many stops away from your home it is, you know, on the app, versus the U.S. Postal Service that they're still using like little cardboard cards for things and things. It definitely gives you that feeling that, man, it feels like they're like 10, 15, maybe even 20 years behind the curve. And even like when they they like print out the receipts for you and some of the stuff's on there, it just feels very, very old school, I guess is the best way to say it.
It is. You know, it's obviously. I mean, if you've spent any time going to the post office, I go to the post office daily, and I just shake my head. I mean, obviously, this is not an efficiently run, professional-looking organization. And first of all, the employees are complaining all the time. You strike up a casual conversation with a postal employee, and they'll tell you that it's a horrible place to work, and that there's constantly stupid rules and dumb policies that nobody understands. They're frustrated.
Yeah. Well, there's that phrase, right? You know, somebody going postal, and you know, it comes from that.
Yeah, fortunately, there's not much of that going on. Nobody's shooting up post offices, but you know, if you went to a restaurant and you know, with your salad, you get this place really sucks.
Yeah,
I'm asking for my
unhappy.
check.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't want to stick around. You wouldn't want to go to that place. Well, guys, you've been listening to Radio Free New York. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow.
I have a question for all investors.